Hey guys, what's going on? Andy Elliott. I'm here today with a buddy of mine named Adam. Now, Adam does a lot of things for me, but one of the cool things about Adam is that number one, he helps me get younger, and I think that's super important. And number two, I want to tell you something cool. Me and Adam are the same age. He's 44, and it's not called your biological age.
Yeah, your epigenetic age.
Your epigenetic age.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just talking about. He pulled his, and he's 28. And so it doesn't matter if you're 44 if literally you're internally running like a 28-year-old, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
Like his internal stuff, which we're going to get into that. I know some people that may be 44 and they may be 65 internally. And this is super important. He's going to go over some stuff. I'm going to let him rip because this isn't my niche, okay? I go find people that are really smart who can help me be optimized, be healthy externally and internally, and be my coach, basically. And number one, he could do that for any of you, but I want him to tell you a lot of things, what he does for me and what he does. And so this is going to be probably the most interesting podcast you've ever watched, number one. And then number two, what's super cool, like there's even an opportunity where if you're like, dude, I want this guy to take care of my health, he can do it. He can do it for all of you. He'd love to do it. But he's taking care of me, and it's been such a big impact. I'm like, bro, like you got to share what we're doing. You got to share with what's going on. And so, Adam, I'm glad you're here. Love you, bro.
Love being here. Love you.
Yeah, let it rip. Let him have it.
Yeah, I think the conversation we were talking about, this idea of anti-aging and this idea of reversing the clock, right? So there's this chronological time, right? That we all have. You're chronologically you're older right now than 5 minutes ago when we started talking, right? And so, but there's a biological age that we can affect, right? And so we can do steps in our life that are going to change that, right? And so what I want to do is I want to share.
So it can be changed.
Yeah, you can absolutely.
Yeah, so like
reverse it.
anybody watching this, if somebody's not where they want to be, like it's all reversible, right?
And part of it is, going back to the data, is if you don't know, you don't know, right? And sometimes we have this thing about us that, and if you're watching this podcast, you're probably not one of the people I'm talking about, where we don't want to know the data. We think if we put our head in the sand, everything's going to be okay. I think if you're watching this podcast, you're probably raising your hand saying, I care, I want more, I want to optimize, I want to live the best, healthiest, most energetic life, right? And so even 4 years ago, so I'm 44, you mentioned that. When I was 41, I did this epigenetic test in the beginning, and it said I was 33. So at 41, said I was 33. And then there's other factors, though, just some genetic stuff that can get factored in that can affect that age, that kind of outside your control, right? So let's say you're 40 and it says like, hey, you're 47 and you got some stuff to clean up in your life, great. But the other part of it is based on just some genetic dispositions. Like it could be predisposition for diabetes or Alzheimer's, some of these things. Well, instead of going, oh, well, that's the cards I dealt, that's what my dad had, that's what my grandpa had, you can work on that. You can optimize it, you can change it, you can reverse it, you can avoid it, right? And so
That's amazing.
yeah, I did this test, and at 41, it said I was 33 which is basically in the category of what you can control by lifestyle. And then at 44, I did it again at the beginning of this year, and it was 28. And I always said, like, I want to feel like I'm 28 years old forever. I just feel like that's when felt so superhero, right? And
Yeah.
so what do we got to do that, right? So there's lots of things. So a lot of people, it's like, is it hormones? Is it stem cells? Is it peptides? Is it cold plunge? Is it sauna? Is it food? Is it water? It's kind of everything, right? So, but the challenge is if you're not living this life, it can be hard to transition. And so I recommend taking steps, right? First step.
Yeah, what are the steps?
Yeah, like just see where you're at first, right? So find out where you're at from your health standpoint, get blood work done.
Okay,
right? And
getting your blood work done so you don't waste any time.
exactly.
You don't want to go into your general doctor. Am I
Right.
correct?
It's really hard. And that's what got me in this path 20 years ago when I was trying to find out what was going on with me. When I was younger, I had an issue with my testosterone. I didn't understand it. I didn't know. I was a driven guy, so it's like I still would go to the gym and work out, but I felt like I was like something was wrong and I had low testosterone. And they're like, I don't know, kid. I was like 24 years old. And I had to find the right docs, guys that were really, really good at this space. And they understood SHBG and luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, how head injury can create low testosterone, how testicular injury, how exposure to environmental toxins, all these things can, like most people don't know. They don't teach them that in medical school. You gotta want to learn that, right? So where do you find those guys, right? And I'm talking 20 years ago, right? When this stuff wasn't even talked about. And so I had to plow that path and build what we built today to be able to make that accessible for everyone, right?
Love
Everyone
that.
deserves to have that.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, he can take care of all that stuff for you, and he's going to go through these steps. But as you're listening to these steps, if you're like, I want to be a part of that, I want that to happen, there'll be a link in the description box below. You guys can click on it. You get connected with him. That's easy. Walk us through the steps. So step one, we want to get blood work.
Yeah, you want to get blood work. There's another test, the epigenetic, like DNA test, that we recommend too, just to see, and that's where we talked about that biological age. And
Can you do both of
age.
those?
Yeah, we can facilitate both of those.
Okay.
Yeah, it just, we'll have someone will ask you if you want to do that. And that's like a DNA swab, send out a kit, take the swab, and then send it back. It takes longer. It's probably, regular blood works 3 to 4 days results. This can take a few weeks, but it's just how it is.
Okay.
And then you get that back and you have this data. And that data also will tell you things to avoid, things that are, hindering that. Sometimes it's going to be alcohol, right? Like someone might realize that having that one drink you have every day is shaving that time off. And it could be chronologically, right? So maybe you have a predisposition for Alzheimer's or dementia, and you don't really know it. You didn't really know your grandpa or something like that. But that drink every day is moving you faster to that. So instead of having it, maybe there's heart disease, right? And so the dementia, you never saw the dementia your dad might have had because he died of a heart attack at 56, but he would have had a dementia in the 60s. Like you don't know it. All this stuff you can see from your DNA, and then you can start course correcting. There's things to do that. There's ways to help. Reverse memory loss, reverse the path, and there's peptides that we work with that do that I take that can help do that. So there's so many things, and I think too often we get caught into like the muscles, right? Like we think blood work and hormones and muscles, and it's like, yeah, muscles are great, but if you're walking around and you don't know your name or you die of a heart attack, who cares, right? And so it's like the whole health, and you and I talked about this before, is that body confidence. Like I want to know head to toe, inside and out, I'm fit, right? Not just abs, like fit everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so going down that path, the diagnostic gets you the data so that you can realize where you may have some deficiencies or you may have some predispositions in your bloodline, right? That you can be a bloodline breaker, correct it, right? Correct that stuff. And so those are some of the things we do. And then there's like lifestyle stuff, right? We know like eat clean, but what does that mean, right? We talk about cholesterol. Sometimes someone might say, oh, I have high cholesterol. Everybody had ask your doctor, define high cholesterol to me, right? Because not all high cholesterol is bad cholesterol. So you need cholesterol for brain health. You need cholesterol to move these hormones through your body. You need the right cholesterol. And depending on how you eat, I eat every day, I eat half a dozen eggs. I eat grass-fed butter. I eat red meat, right? I eat all these things, and my cholesterol is great. It's dialed in, right? You have your HDL, your LDL. And so sometimes it's too often just in mainstream medicine, we're wired to, oh, that's a little high. Here's a pill. You don't need a pill. Actually, it's good. It's not bad. And that is scary. But having a conversation with, also people that are interested in optimizing health versus someone that's interested in giving you a pill to mask a problem and get you out of their office, right? And so it's a mindset of who you're working with matters.
Yeah. And so you want somebody who's dealt with thousands of patients.
Yeah, I've seen over 20,000 people.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So
we've put white paper together on stuff. And I'm like, you talked about yesterday. Like I have a photographic memory. I see data, and I'm like, man, I think I'm seeing something here. Let's go look back 20,000 patients in, and we're like, sure enough, there was a thing, right? So this stuff I'm just obsessed with the data, right? Why I love the numbers, why I love the data.
That's your one thing you're great at.
And it helps me build systems and processes. I've helped build business around the data, right? Not how I feel around the data, right? And so the data doesn't lie. And so going back and seeing some of these things, so we've created a lot of information that wasn't out there because we had the data to look at, and we weren't just laser focused on one, oh, hey, get everybody testosterone. Hold on. Let's get everybody where they need to be health-wise, full suit, right? And so that's really the philosophy of how we looked at it, how I look at my health, how I look at everyone's health, right?
I love it.
So that's what's important.
What are some things? So obviously we're going to start with blood work.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another test you can do to check your biological age. Kind of check it out. But the blood work's like 911. It's like super important. You got to do that because there's got to be a starter, right? And then for the obsessed people, you need to do the other one too, because then I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to run two different deals here because I want to know the data. It's like you're building your body, your life. I want to know where I'm at.
And you can monitor it. That's the other thing too, is like you can see, like when someone asks me, like, should I take this supplement or should I do this? I'm like, what's your blood work look like? Like, why,
Okay,
it's
so we can say that you couldn't properly advise anyone. I mean, you could say how you feel.
I could say, hey, take 2,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. It will improve your immune system, like across the board, right? But you can't do.
When you see the blood work, it tells you everything. All the holes, what you're good at. You always say something. You're like, there's what needs to stay the same, what needs to change.
Start, stop, and sustain.
Right? Yeah. So talk about that for just a quick second.
Well, and what we all need to start, stop, and sustain can be a little bit different, right? So if everybody's getting the same thing, well, we don't all have the same diagnosis. We don't all have the same goals. We don't all have the same challenge. We don't all have the same potential predispositions, right? And so that cookie cutter program never works. Right?
I love it.
And so we're going to look at blood work. We're going to have a conversation about, like, how do you eat? We're not saying you got to have this strict nutrition. We're just curious. How do you eat? What's your exercise activity? Do you walk the dog? Or are you pounding the weights 6 days a week? Like, what are you doing? Because we want to help that. And then even when it comes down to narrowing it down to testosterone, like you have these clinics that are like, oh yeah, everybody gets a cc a week. Is that what they need? Because sometimes it could be too much.
Yeah.
Right? Or it could be not enough, depending on the size, the weight of the person, their activity, what their body actually needs. And then, so you're doing follow-up diagnostics to see, because a lot of times too, the people are even on too much testosterone, and that's where all the side effects. If you have side effects, you're getting acne, you're getting high blood pressure, things like that are showing up. It's likely because you're taking an incorrect dose, right? Or the frequency. We have guys just the other day, a guy's what we call a fast metabolizer. It means he processes medication faster. It's a genetic thing. I have the same thing. I can drink a cup of coffee and take a nap. I process caffeine in about 30 minutes. But if I have too much
I drink coffee at night before I go to sleep.
Yeah. My wife thinks it's crazy. If she has a cup of coffee after 2, she can't go to sleep. I can drink it and lay down and go to sleep. But I metabolize caffeine in many drugs faster, right? Same thing though is that if I have a huge amount of caffeine, it hits me hard and it can almost make me uncomfortable. So it's like knowing these things about yourself matter, right? And because you could take something that could really adversely hurt your health, put you in the hospital or something like that if you don't know, right? Or you're being prescribed a certain dose because that's what most people do.
Yeah.
And that dose isn't working for you because you're a fast metabolizer, or maybe you're a slow metabolizer. There's so many different things that we want to look at that data, right? So getting that regular blood work, whether you're, there should be no stage 3, stage 4 cancer. We should be, that stuff can all be flagged, right? And so part of what we want to do is creating this environment where like you're engaged in your health, right? Like think of the conversations we have, like you're interested, you're engaged in your health. What about this? What about this? What else can I do? What else can I do? Imagine if we all did that. How much healthier we'd be as a society,
gosh.
right?
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the podcast. As you're hearing us talk about, living a longer life, if you're 40, imagine being 20 and your life's just getting started because you could have lived to 120. Wouldn't that be cool? Right? Think about right now, like some people don't know exactly where they stand, and then some people don't know what'll be going on 5 years from now. It's time to start taking this data seriously. Okay? If you want to anti-reverse your age, your life, get better looking, get healthier, live longer. Man, I mean, if you want to win a business, you want to kill it, you got to win in your health, because no matter what you're studying right now, if your health goes to shit, it's all for nothing, right? And you don't want to wait until something bad happens to react. You want to make sure that you're taking care of it so something bad never happens. If something ever happens, you're like, oh man, I'm 10 steps ahead of this. So if you're watching this, Adam takes care of all of my health. He takes care of everything. There's going to be a link below. All you got to do is just go down and click on it. You can get connected with him, and he'll take care of that with you. Anything that's a resource to me, I want to share it with you. Let's get back to the video.
Instead of just ignoring it, right? Like, sure, there's have a donut sometimes or eat the bag of chips, like whatever. But if at least that's like, hey, if I did that all day, every day, it's probably going to be bad for my body, right? And
That's right.
We want to create that environment with people and help them take charge and control of their health, not lead up to their primary care doctor that they only see when they're sick.
Yeah, and a lot of people on our channel, and I think this is an important topic to cover, is how stress, right, affects the body.
Yes.
Because everyone on my channel, like, they're all entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople.
Mhm.
I mean, all of them are under the gun all the time. Everybody wants to, self recreate, become better people. So they're all pushing, right? We're all like fire breathing dragons.
Yeah.
So there's stress with that because there's big dreams on the line. You're pushing hard. Let's talk about stress a little bit, what it does to your body, and
Yeah.
like why, like, I think like this message could save a lot of people's lives and give people the data where they're at so they can self-correct.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this. I'm going to share my morning routine with you. And this isn't for everybody, but this is just what I've found that works for me. It keeps me where I want to be from a stress standpoint. And I can look at the things I'll deal with before noon most days would just crush anybody if they had to deal with it in a week, right? And so, because what the bigger the problem, the better the paycheck, and some of these things we talk about, right? So if you're chasing these things, how do you manage stress? How do you internalize it? So a lot of it's like coaching, a lot of the stuff that you do, right? The stuff that people learn from you can help them manage stress by changing the perspective, but also how you set the pace. And so, like, when I wake up in the morning, I get up, I pray. That's the thing I do before I leave my bed, set my intention to the day. And I don't have appointments for 2 hours before I wake up. Like, I have this block, that's my time, because I need to get into the best place for me personally,
Yeah,
so that I can be the best for you,
that's
the
huge.
best, right? And so I get up, I move slow, get my cup of coffee, do an infrared sauna, 140 degrees, 30 minutes, listen to praise and worship music, just gets me awake and alert and happy. But I'm breath work in there. I'm in there breathing, holding my breath, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds. I'm just doing these things because I want my body to, in these places of physical stress, I want my mind to kick in of like, we got this. Every day, I've been doing it for 5, 6 years. Every day I want to get out early. Every day I look at that one. That's what on my social media, I post this. The hardest minute of my day is that last minute when I'm just like, it seems like a 5 minute, 1 minute, right? Because it's so hot, I want to get out. And then I get out and I get in the cold plunge every day. Get in, and just about every day I'm like, I don't think I need to do it today. I do, I do it like you start, because I want to have that mental voice on both sides having that conversation and win it, right?
Yeah.
So that going into that day after I do that cold plunge, I'm on fire. My wife's like, you have like annoying energy when you come out of there. She's like, you're just like, I'm excited, excited about my day, and I'm put in this right state. And so because I'm in the right state and I focus on staying in that state, nothing can interrupt it. So it can't disrupt my stress. So I say that in the sense of like, there's things that we have to do. Like, can I take a pill? Sure. Can I take a Xanax? Sure. Could, like, but I want to be in control of that. And so going back into it, so okay, that's how I control my stress, mindset, set my intention. But at the same time, while I'm doing that infrared sauna, sweating, like, I mean, you're getting rid of those like forever toxins. If you've heard like the detox that's going on, the health standpoint, the infrared sauna, they're showing people the percentage, like how much your percentage of death lowers by doing infrared sauna, right?
Really?
Stuff. Oh, massively, dude. I mean, it's one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself, doing an infrared sauna. And so there's that health piece of it. So I'm doing mindset, like body, mind, and spirit, this whole thing. Same with cold plunge. We know that all the benefits of doing cold plunge from a health standpoint, but I'm also mind and spirit, right? I'm getting in there and I'm putting myself into that stuff. And so what happens, it allows you to manage stress. I'll tell you one thing, and I maybe mentioned this before, that I recommend everybody go on Amazon and buy a blood pressure cuff. They're like 20 bucks, 15 bucks, get a little electric one, put it on there. And especially these guys we're talking about, your fault, like the people that are on this channel, the killers, the closers, the guys that are going after it. I'm one of them, right? I get it. And this is why I did this, is I wanted to see, I put the blood pressure cuff on, said a heated deal. I'm real, some whatever, right? We're just feeling high stress, feeling it. Put a blood pressure cuff and see what happens. And you see your heart rate's up as if you were going for a jog, but you ain't jogging. That's bad news. How do you control that? Start to connect with it, right? So that if I can feel what it feels like to get my blood pressure up, then I can just learn to breathe, learn to just, you can bring it down. So I did that one time. I was going to the doctors, and they put me on the thing, and I just got out of it. It was a heated conversation, business conversation. My blood pressure's like 150. She's like, "Ooh, that's high." And I was like, "Give me a few minutes, right?" And I was like, "Go see someone else. Come back in." Came back down with 127, and like 5-6 minutes. But being the ability to pull that down, because that stress kills you. Now, are there things we can do? Monitor our cortisol levels? Yep. DHEA, 25 milligram DHEA supplement, quality matters. So I think we supply it through our clinic, but Life Extension's a company that we use DHEA for. Life Force has a great one, but DHEA helps combat cortisol. And so most of us have super deficient, and I could tell people their blood work. I'm like, tell me about your high stress life. They're like, how do you know? And I can just tell because it's depleted. And when you add that DHEA in, DHEA shuts
Does that
down,
help a lot?
Yeah, it shuts down cortisol. Because the problem is, think for thousands of years, we operated without these phones zinging, pinging, late night TV, late night news, binge, all the we're just going, right, 100 miles an hour, and the cortisol is spiking and spiking and spiking, which is not how it's supposed to be. We want cortisol up in the morning where we're like, yeah, seize the day, and then it needs to come down in the evening naturally, and that we rest, go into a more of a rested state, go to sleep well, because sleep is so vital too, right? And everybody sleeps bad, so there's some sleep responsibility we have to take on, like sleep routine, I call it, and I'm bad at it too. But something like a DHEA in the evening, so like dinner time, typically. And now we talked about different metabolizers. So if you feel groggy in the morning, you need to take it earlier. Some people take it before bed, and sometimes that's too late because DHEA will shut down cortisol, right? So if you're deficient in DHEA, it's because likely without checking your cortisol, we can see cortisol is going to be through the roof. So the body has this like yin and yang work with it, right? So we talk about another thing, I'll give you an example, growth hormone, like having optimal IGF-1 levels, optimal growth hormone. So it's like I saw your kids in there a little bit ago, like our kids, they're 400, 450 IGF-1 levels. That's why they can fall, break an arm, and like 6 weeks later, they're like it never happened. Where you and I, it could be a 6-month challenge, right? Without aggressively treating it. And so higher IGF-1 levels are great. And our IGF-1 goes up, our growth hormone goes up while we sleep, right? And so, well, what's if you have sleep apnea? Growth hormones stand down, you're aging faster, right? The lower your IGF-1, the lower your growth hormone output is, you're aging like a racehorse.
Wow.
So we got to change that, right? And that's where
you can see all this through the blood test.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's got to the point where we can look at blood tests. I don't even have to have a conversation with you, and I could sit down with you, look at your blood work, and go and just read your mail, tell you everything about your life. It's crazy.
Okay. All right. So that's where I want. I want everybody to know this. Number one, you guys are talking to Adam. Adam is awesome. Tell him the name of your company.
Yeah, Renew Life RX is the platform. Yeah.
Okay. Renew Life RX. Very simply, there's a link below. If you've been listening to them and you're like, okay, this is something that I want to start taking seriously. Because, I mean, most people aren't taking it seriously now. But they're like, this is something I want to start taking seriously. Number one, it's not how do you do it. It's who are you going to do it with. That's it. Because he knows how to do it. And so you go to the link below. You click on the description or in the description box area. You get connected with him. He'll get you set up. He'll take care of everything. Get your blood work. Once they get it, I believe there's a Zoom call. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, so you'll do the blood work. We'll have you hop on a Zoom. So I've been doing telemedicine for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So we've been...
Yeah, so it's very simple. You don't need to go find somebody local.
Yeah.
It could be in all 50 states, and you'll set up with them.
Yeah, like when COVID came, it got even easier and more efficient for us to do things because we'd already been doing it for so long. And so, yeah, you hop on with a provider. We'll go through your blood work.
Just so they see what that looks like.
Yeah, read through everything. You'll be assigned a wellness coordinator who's like someone similar to me who just loves and lives this stuff. That's going to be like your buddy, right? Like your person you can reach out to 24/7. So like, because we're here. I mean, we have clients who've been with us over a decade, right? Like they don't go anywhere. Because they're like, where would I go and get the same experience and same like care, right? Like like we're friends. I care about you. I care, like everybody.
That's what I was telling everybody yesterday. I was like, you go to some place with some doctor.
Yeah.
And they're just giving everybody the same.
Yeah, it's just a number.
It's just a number. It's like, oh, give them this. Okay, next, give them this. Yep, give them this. It's like you look through the stuff. You actually, it's like, again, you read our mail. You know who we are. You become friends.
And
then
we want to connect every couple of weeks too. So it's like,
Yeah.
how often does your primary care reach out to you just to see how you're doing?
Never.
Never, dude.
Never.
No one. And it's from a business standpoint too. I'm like, that's crazy.
That's junk.
Right?
Yeah.
But even from like a care standpoint, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not proper care.
Yeah.
Right? And so, yeah, that's how the experience will be working with us. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, number one, every day I try to bring on somebody of massive value. This is a good buddy of mine. He takes care of my health, takes care of my team's health, my wife. This is a good opportunity for you guys right now to make a decision. Do I want to be healthier? Do I want to know where I stand? Am I curious? Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, let's go get this fixed now. Don't wait for something bad to happen before you decide to start, changing or making decisions. And so you can start here, get the blood work. They'll jump on the Zoom call with you. They'll take care of you forever. That's amazing. And by the way, they'll earn the right to do it. You'll be like, man, I love these people. This is awesome. I want them to be in charge of myself. You're going to feel amazing. You're going to know what you have going on in your life. You can self-correct any problem you have right now. You can fix it. You can reverse it. You can change it. You can get younger, anti-age, become healthier, live longer, have more energy right now in life, less stress. Somebody that's your coach, your health coach. It's pretty cool, right? So I love you guys. I appreciate it. I wanted to share some of his knowledge for the last 20 years with you guys, and not only share it, but also give you a place to plug in. Because a lot of the times, it's like if somebody came to me and, they told me about Jesus and I was like, oh man, I believe in that. But then they didn't have a church they could plug me into. Then, I may not find someone.
The thought doesn't go to action, right? And
yeah.
so
Well, even if I walked into a church, what if the person that led me to Jesus, that church isn't on fire like that person was?
Yeah, right.
So I wanted to introduce you, to Adam. He just shared with you 1% of what he knows, what he does, what goes on. Now, if you're like, man, I love this. Cool. Here's your opportunity. Now you can plug in directly to him and his company, his program, and everything that he just said. They'll make sure that they take care of you in that area of health. Doesn't matter who you are, this guy's got you. Doesn't matter what's going on. If you haven't taken very good care of yourself in a long time, good. Okay? They love changing people's lives. They'll get that stuff shifted around. If you're like me and you're a pro and you take good care of yourself, there's always levels to this game. Okay? And so like every day, I'm like wanting somebody to make me younger. I want to feel more energetic. I want to be happier. I want to know where I am. I don't ever want to not know where I am.
Yeah.
I couldn't build a business, you always said, without the data. And so this is your health data. And the good thing about it is they know how to build that health data right for you. They know how to make you healthier for you, your family,
And
live longer.
teach them along the way. Like we really, it's important to us to like educate along the way.
Huge.
We love when patients
Like
are
why you're
reaching
doing
out
this.
with like questions. Wait, what about this? Have you seen this? We're like, yeah, because you're engaged. You're thinking about it. Like if you're thinking about your age, you're going to just live healthier, right?
Yeah, and you're going to live.
But if we can help create solutions for places you can't, right? We find deficiencies or issues. We can provide the solution, but we also want to be that beacon of light to help keep you engaged in your health, your curiosity. I love it. It's one of my favorite things when people reach out wanting to know those things. They want our opinion, they want our feedback, even if it's a supplement or if it's whatever. It's like, I love that.
Yeah, because you're help holding them accountable to their best health.
Exactly.
Guys, love you, appreciate you. Make sure if you guys watch this, you're like, man, I need a guy like this in my life. Done. Here you go. Go click on that. They'll get you set up. They take care of my health. Everybody, it's a good friend of mine. I want to introduce him to you guys. And this is how easy life is. Okay, you don't think about how do I get there. You just think about who do I need to get connected with that can get me there. That's him. And so this is my secret. This is my unfair advantage. And I just shared it with all you guys. So I love you. Have a blessed day, guys. Let's get healthier than ever. Let's kick some ass. I'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, looks like you made it to the end of the video. You're the true 0.0001%ers. Look, I know 1%ers that can make it halfway through the video, but making it all the way through, you guys are the best. Now, here's what I'd like to do. Number one, I want to get closer to you. The fact that you made it all the way through the video, you're like, man, dude, I want to roll with this guy. Okay, so I need to connect with you. Down below, there's a description box on this YouTube video. There's a link. It says Coach with Me one-on-one, okay? If you'll go and you'll enter your information, I'll reach out to you in the next 24 hours. You can tell me what you need help with, what your goals are, and we will crush it together. I would love to help you guys go to the next level in life. You can tell I'm changing my life really fast, And I know that you guys want the same thing. I'd love to go with you on that journey. So right now, if you'd like to partner with me, team with me, if you want me to help coach you and push you, everybody needs a coach, a higher level of accountability to go to the next level. Go to the description box below, click on the link, fill out your information. I'll talk to you in the next 24 hours. Let's kill it.